So I'd like to talk a little bit about the stages of a group, the stages of a group's development. And this has been analysed many times, and one of the earliest analyses of it that I know of was a man called Bruce Tuckman in the 1970s, who talked about the stages of the group as forming, storming, norming, performing, and he later added adjourning. He saw that those as the stages. And in terms of forming, that he was talking about the group coming together and beginning their work together. Storming was the stage at which the group checked one another out, started to test the boundaries of the group, feeling their way, elbowing one another about, and possibly and likely to get into conflict and also chaos. So that's a very dynamic stage of the group. After that storming phase, the group then would get into setting some rules and agreements, and that's the norming stage. You know, what's normal in this group? What is the group purpose, the group culture? How are we going to work together? And then after that would come the performing stage of the group, where the group starts to work together and move towards the purpose in a productive way. And then adjourning is the leaving, making sure that the tasks be fulfilled, the completion, the waving goodbye, the sadness that comes with leaving a group. So that was one analysis. There's been many, many others. I think one of the articles in the IAF journal, the International Association of Facilitators Journal, one of the articles there mentioned 25 different models. And one of the models that I like quite a lot is one by M. Scott Peck, who wrote the book The Different Drum. And he talks about the stages of the group as, first of all, pseudo-community, and by that he meant people being nice to one another, and perhaps a little bit artificial, but kind of introducing themselves to one another in a good light. So this first phase was, he called it pseudo-community, and then you saw the group moving into chaos, conflict and chaos, where the niceness would be sprung, as it were, and people would be showing the other sides of themselves, could no longer keep up the pretense, and their other sides would be showing through as well, and people would be rubbing up against one another. So he called that chaos. Sometimes that also shows up as chaos occurring around the group, like things might start to go wrong, and perhaps you can't get into the workshop room, or nothing's ready for you, or people get held up. So it can actually have that kind of a chaotic side to it as well. Then after chaos, if you work through the chaos, Scott Peck saw emerging in the group what he called emptiness, when people would have said what they needed to say, and they would be empty, and that people could sit together and be with one another without necessarily saying anything. And you saw that as emptiness showing up. Sometimes I experience that not so much as emptiness, but as fullness. But it's like two sides to a coin. The group can be empty or it can be full, and there is nothing left to say. And then the group moves through that, and the final stage that Scott Peck identified was community, or he also refers to this as integrated community, what's sometimes called authentic community. And in this stage, people are able to be vulnerable, to share their deeper thoughts and feelings, to really be with one another in a more expansive and deeper way. And so he saw this as community, or authentic community. So that's a very nice analysis of a group too. But the main thing is to remember that groups do go through stages, and the stages are similar. And it's necessary for the group to go through them, particularly the storming chaos phase. It is necessary, I've found, for a group to go into and through that stage. It can't really be avoided. If you try and avoid it, it will show up later anyway, perhaps in slightly more edgy way. So yeah, it's better to allow for it and see it as okay, particularly when you're facilitating the group, and to hold the group and provide that safety so that the group can go through that phase productively. And well, I'm going to say a little bit about alignment too. What I want to say about alignment, it's in relation to this too, that it's very important for a group when it is starting out to reasonably quickly define its purpose, to get alignment on the purpose, so that the group owns the purpose and is clear about where they're heading. That is quite crucial, because without that, the real power of synergy and working together isn't tapped. So a group needs to achieve alignment on a purpose, and also to define the space within which the group will work, and that, I refer to that as the group culture. How are we going to work together? What are our norms, and how can we monitor those? And how can, as a facilitator, can we monitor that the group is keeping to its norms? That's why it's important to be very explicit about the group purpose and the group culture. And once that framework has been set, then the facilitator's job is made a little easier, because the group members can also monitor the purpose and culture, and more momentum can be achieved. So that's some of the key aspects of group stages that I'd like you to remember.